India is bracing for a powerful storm that's due to hit the east coast within 48 hours. The situation is placing further strain on emergency services as the country battles to contain COVID-19. Cyclone AMPHAN is on course to slam into West Bengal and Odisha on Wednesday, and there are fears over its impact as the storm has been steadily growing in strength and it has already intensified into a super cyclone. This is the first super cyclone storm in the Bay of Bengal since 1999, which killed over 9,000 people. Thousands of villages in the region have been evacuated. And even as India prepares to face the elements, it's also dealing with a worsening coronavirus outbreak. More than 5,000 new infections have been reported, the biggest daily surge. Authorities say this is largely due to migrant workers returning to their villages. And the tally is also expected to rise sharply in the weeks ahead as more people travel home. A nationwide lockdown has been extended to the end of the month, but some restrictions have been eased. Neha Punya joins us live for more. So, Neha, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he's held a high-level meeting on the situation. What was the outcome?
Glenda, India's east coast is no stranger to cyclones. In fact, exactly this time last year, when the country was in the middle of a general election, you had Cyclone Fani making landfall, in which over 60 people had died. But the timing, like you said, couldn't have been worse, which is why Prime Minister Modi held that high-level meeting a short while back. It was attended by various officials of the Home Ministry as well as India's National Disaster Management Authority to take a look at the preparedness on the ground. As we speak, the state of Odisha, which is directly in the path of this cyclone, will be the hardest hit, and they are planning to evacuate 1.1 million people, not only those who live along the coast of the state, but also in many quarantine and migrant shelters that have been housing all of those migrant laborers coming back home from different parts of the country. You've got advisories being issued to people, warning them to stay away from the coastline. Fishermen have been asked not to venture out into the sea as well. And the Prime Minister being told that 37 disaster response teams are on the ground and are prepared to carry out rescue operations all through Wednesday when this storm will make landfall.
How the cyclone complicates the battle against COVID-19. It'll be hard to maintain safe distancing during an evacuation. How will India cope with the pandemic and the cyclone?
Absolutely. In fact, it's going to really stress out already stretched resources, especially in states like Odisha. We're being told that some of the areas that are directly in the path of Cyclone AMPHAN are actually COVID-19 red zones. And the biggest challenge for the government there is to safely evacuate all those who live in those areas. We're given to understand that many people who were living in quarantine centers have now been asked to go back home and isolate themselves at their homes if they don't live close to the coast. And many other government shelters which were housing people who had come back from different parts of the state are being used as cyclone shelters now. But there's also hesitation. Many residents of Odisha saying they don't want to go into these shelters even if they have been properly sanitized, because they were being used for COVID-19 patients and suspected patients. The Odisha government also urging the federal government to suspend these special trains that are ferrying many migrant laborers back into the state, saying that we don't have capacity to screen all those workers and quarantine them. We're already going to be very, very stretched. So certainly it's going to be a huge, huge concern, given that India is seeing more than 5,000 COVID-19 cases in the last 24 hours. And given that over the next 1 week, considering how intense this cyclone is going to be, with wind speeds of up to 185 kilometers, all of the resources in those states along India's eastern coast are going to be completely utilized in dealing with the aftermath of this super cyclone.
Well, thank you very much for keeping an eye on it for us. Neha Punya speaking to us from New Delhi.